I hired an expert for every part of my golf game, from driver to putter to even strategy. My goal is to make this the most comprehensive coaching video on the internet. First things first, irons.
We'll get that one more time. I
Yep.
think that was perfect.
I think that was good, dude.
Here with Grant Horvat, one of the biggest golf YouTubers on the planet, but also one of the best ball strikers I've ever played with. He's a great teacher and has gained a ton of knowledge from playing with pros.
We're doing irons today. What do you know about irons, dude?
There's some basic fundamentals we'll talk about with irons. Ball position, weight, shaft lean, certain things, and there's things that are more like personal that I feel throughout my golf swing.
Okay.
And obviously playing with a lot of pros,
Yeah.
you hear a lot of stuff. Yeah, we'll look at your iron swing, take a look at that, see if we can help you there.
Masterclass in irons here, dude. That's what I'm looking for.
Let's go.
You think you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Come on!
I'm ready.
I got an 8 iron.
Okay.
Is that, yeah?
Where you aim?
3 little like gongs out there.
Yep.
Just go in there.
Perfect. Okay.
A little thin.
Arm it up.
Okay.
A little left. Good strike. Oh yeah.
That's
Dude, I love that golf swing. Are irons something you struggle with?
short irons, no.
Okay.
Long irons, definitely something I struggle with.
I'll just go over basic fundamentals I kind of look for when I'm hitting my irons. First
Yeah.
off, when you're hitting an 8 iron here, ball position with an 8 iron is going to be relatively towards the center of your stance.
Right.
So center of the stance here with an 8 iron. With a 7, it would start to move up, and then weight to start is a big thing. 70% of our weight on our left side, 30% on our right. So 70-30 to start. Ball position center here with an 8 iron. And what I like to see is a little bit of shaft lean to start. I'm not talking, you don't need it over here, but just a little bit of shaft lean to start. And from there, you make your normal golf swing, you're gonna compress it better. If you want to drill, that I would say, what I love to tell people that are struggling with their irons is think of Tommy Fleetwood. Is when he comes through, he's trying to obviously keep his arms pretty straight.
Yeah.
He hits those knockdown shots, and every follow through is like this.
Yep.
And he only holds it off to here. So everything's in a straight line. What I would tell you, hit some shots, full backswing, but when you go through, stop it here.
Okay.
Straight arms. And that ensures you that if you're trying to like chicken wing it or scoop it, you won't be able to do it. So full backswing, boom, right at the bottom. Yeah.
Okay.
And I want you to stabilize that face a little bit. Do it again.
Okay. Talk to me about stabilizing my face. What is that? What do you mean by
through
that?
impact. So the first couple shots you hit, when I watched you hit one right.
Yep.
Then you hooked one way left.
Yep.
And then you kind of hit one on line, which was, the last one was solid. Like it drew back on line. Obviously there's a lot of face rotation going on through impact. I just want you to hit low punch shots that are just going at the target every time. To go
I'm just
straight.
keeping that club head square like the entire way. I'm not even.
Exactly. You're just feeling boom things. There.
A little high there on the finish, but
I like that. No, that was good.
Forgot to mention, I'm gonna be putting everything I learned in this video to the test. Before I got any lessons, I played 3 rounds of golf and kept track of my scores and stats. After I get all these lessons, I'm gonna play another 3 rounds and see if my scores and stats improve. Here are my stats from the first 3 rounds if you wanna pause the video and take a look.
I just want your core to move at the same rate as your arms. Stick your club right here.
Yep.
Basically, when you go back, it's pointing at your belly, and when you go through, it's the same distance. So everything is always pointed here. So it's connected throughout the entire strike.
it's a good tip there, Mr. Horvat.
Yeah. Keep the same rate.
Feels a little weird.
Yeah, no, you can't. We got to make a training aid that.
Yeah, wait.
But yeah, I just want to see that once again. Low follow through. You can take it back as far as you want. Nice.
Yeah, that felt good.
Nice.
Felt really good.
See, now we're starting to get it really just at the target every time. If you can get from here to here in the golf swing, down, that's basically the entire golf swing. You look at all the pros on tour, I mean, they can be in all these weird positions here, but from here, parallel to the ground, and parallel to the ground here, they're so similar.
Yeah.
Love how simple Grant is making everything, and he's right. Every professional golfer is pretty much the exact same from parallel to parallel.
So that's all I'm trying to have you work on right now is just, can you get parallel to the ground here and parallel down
there?
Yep. There you go.
Okay.
And you're just like so consistent.
Oh, dude, you fixed it.
Oh yeah.
All right, it's it. We're good.
You are hitting that good.
It actually feels really good, bro. Let's go.
And now, I mean, you can make your normal swing. I want you to be able to, I don't want you to be going up.
No, I mean, dude.
Like every shot, you're just like this, you know? No, we don't need that. Oh yeah. That was beautiful. Dude, that was it.
I'm the greatest golfer alive. Dude.
That was it. From this view, that looked really good.
Wow.
Okay, so long irons, let's talk about that for just a second.
Yeah, give me
so
long irons.
irons, I don't want to have as much weight on our left side. I want to be more 50-50 with the long irons. I don't want to be starting too much over here. So if we want to hit high, soft 4 irons, ball position forward, And from there with you, just make your normal swing. You have such a good golf swing, you don't really need to change much.
A little thin there, but
solid, little thin.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I feel like true colors are showing here. I feel like this is a common theme with the long irons.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last long iron I hit on the range.
Really?
Never hit them.
Why is that?
Like, I'll go to a 7 and that's it.
The feeling of thinning it then gives you like a bad feel.
Exactly. I don't even want that going out into the course.
feel that, yeah.
I just want to feel like I'm swinging good.
I know what you're saying.
It's just a mental thing.
Yeah.
Make sure that ball position is very nice and forward so we get some height. Beauty.
After chatting a little bit with Grant, we found out the main reason I struggle with my long irons is because my ball position is too far back in my stance.
I mean, we haven't changed anything in your swing. We just moved your ball position a little bit more forward than what you were comfortable with.
Yep.
And I think that's helping. Even a little more.
A little more?
There we go, right there. There.
Yeah.
Finally, we got it up in the air.
Yeah, I felt really good.
So it's gonna feel a little uncomfortable to get that ball position that far forward, but that was your best one.
I got something special for you here. This could help. I brought it just in case, you know, help me square up my irons. The mini iron. Talk to me.
This is a training aid.
The training aid, yeah.
No
I want to
way.
see you try and square it up. You swing this, and then you let me know if you think that will actually help or if that would just screw you up.
There's definitely like a way it could help.
Yeah, I mean, like aim small, miss small. I feel like.
Oh my,
Yeah.
this is wild. I've never seen this.
Bro.
Now,
That was money.
are you supposed to like hit it like a normal iron?
Dude, I think you just hit it normally, yeah.
Okay. It's intimidating to look down at, you know?
Yeah. Look at this guy.
Glad I got Grant to help me with my irons. He's obviously a great iron striker, as we saw there with the mini club. He finished up the lesson with a few helpful tips to hit your irons better.
The most basic thing I've ever said is just ball first.
Ball first.
When the strike happens, then the divot should occur slightly after the golf ball. For people out there that are like really struggling with their irons, like even if you take it back like halfway and you're just like this.
Yeah, and just keeping that club face square and
Ball
hitting the ball first,
then a divot.
divot after. Mr. Grant Horvat.
Oh. Technically, Grant doesn't charge for lessons, but something like this would typically cost around $150, which will be the cheapest of the video. Next up,
Strategy.
This is Scott Fawcett. He's the strategy and mental coach for guys like Bryson DeChambeau and Will Zalatoris. He's totally revolutionized the way people think about golf strategy, and a lot of it comes from his background in poker.
You know, so when I quit playing professionally in 2001, and I started playing a bunch of poker, and then I actually met Chris Como, Tiger's old instructor, whatever, and playing in an underground poker room in like 2005.
Okay.
And he and I started just really bouncing around a bunch of different ideas that then started making me think of golf more like a poker game. I was just like, well, if I know the size of shot patterns from launch monitors, and then I know how many strokes it takes to hole out from anywhere, like I can just solve strategy.
Yeah, right.
After watching a few shots on the range, Scott was a little confused as to why I'm still a 6 handicap.
Dude, it sounds pure over there. I don't see why you're a 6
Well,
already.
I feel like I always say that maybe I look better than I am. And I think a lot of it has to do with mental stuff, which is why I'm here.
We can clean this up really quick.
Scott's pretty confident he can turn my game around, so we headed to the first tee. We're gonna play 9 holes, and Scott's gonna teach me how to strategically play golf.
The main question with tee shot strategy, if we're considering not hitting driver, is what's the alternative and what does it accomplish? Through the fairway, it's about 265 to that bunker.
Okay.
And it's about 265 to carry the bunker on the right. Like one of the bunkers is in play. And I think this situation, it's better to make the one through the fairway in play. I would tell you just to take your driver, start it at the bunker, through the fairway, and cut it over to the left lip of the right bunker.
Okay.
Little bit of a rough start for me here with a snap hook off the first tee, but it gave Scott a good chance to show me how to limit the damage when you get into a tough spot on the course.
So much of what I talk about is expectation management.
Yep.
But we're not in a great spot here. But also you can still just make a bogey. It's not the end of the world.
Right.
I really do believe that becoming oblivious to where you stand at par is just the utopian way to play golf.
Yep.
Because once you start focusing on score, whether it's going good or bad, you start making emotional decisions.
Yep.
And emotional decisions are never, they can accidentally be optimal, but they're not going to intentionally be optimal.
Yep.
220 with the ball below your feet. Wedge it down there at the right lip of the green side bunker.
Had I been playing by myself, I definitely would have tried to hit a 5-iron on the green from 220 out, which would have put me at serious risk for compounding mistakes.
And this is a situation where I'm not even saying that is or isn't the optimal play, but if it's not the optimal play, it's not by much. Maybe going for it there might have had a little bit better expectation, but I would highly doubt it. PGA Tour players are terrible to front hole locations, which by definition means amateurs are too. This is just a spot that with that runoff up front, you're gonna try to land it right at the pin. It'll probably skip to 10 feet long. Again, like if you hit the shot perfectly, that's what you want. And if you happen to hit it too far, you'll have 25 feet coming back. So that right there, again, we're not gonna talk mechanics.
Yep.
But given how far you've shown me you can hit it, that swing was really long.
Okay.
Like that should be a much tighter,
Yep.
more aggressive shot.
Yep.
That'll get the ball flight down a little bit.
Just
Again,
a lot more room for error if I'm going.
Yeah,
way
I
up
mean,
and
anything
doing
can
something
happen.
crazy.
You kind of get it so long that you wind up basically having to decelerate. I mean, same thing here.
good
You're
stuff.
going to have about 20 feet, pretty fast. The whole goal of this putt is not three putting. I mean, that is literally the entire goal of this putt, which means you can leave it anywhere from 3 feet short to 3 feet long. Again, here's the low point in the green, so
Yep.
this thing should just be rolling pretty straight all the way down it.
Okay.
Fantastic putt. I mean, that one right there is just so easy to accidentally blow 5 feet by.
Yep.
I would guarantee you from where your tee shot was, your average score is 5. You probably make more 4s and 6s by going for it.
Yes.
You had a chance for a 4, either by making the putt or by hitting a better third shot. But you've kind of removed 6.
Yep.
So you've reduced variance and you've given yourself, I mean, again, at worst, that was close to the optimal play.
Only one hole in, and it already feels like my decision making on the course is improving. One thing I really struggle with is after a bad drive, stepping up to the next tee box and telling myself, don't do it again, which is just the worst thing you can do. Scott had some really helpful tips on how not to do that.
People, when they say I'm a feel player, like I think that's just makes no sense. But what I do want you to realize, like on the driving range, you hit like
Right.
10 drives in a row that were great.
Yeah.
And this hole fits it perfectly. Just so if you can see right here, the White House through the fairway.
Yep.
Start it there. Hit that cut that you were earlier, but really try to visualize and feel what you were doing back on the range, and then like kind of believe like hit a bunch of really good drives there.
Yeah, right.
That you didn't hit a single drive that looked like that.
Yeah,
one.
right.
I mean, literally not one.
Maybe one of my issues mentally of like on the range, I'm just swinging freely.
I tell people you've got to listen to what you're saying inside your head on the range. Like be aware of it. Like really listen to what you're saying, and then say the same thing out here. You didn't think on a single time on the range, don't go right. Pretend you're on the range, see that shot just left of the White House down there, and bleed that cut right to where I just hit mine. There you go.
Yeah.
Just fire your 3-wood just at the left bunker there.
Okay. How far is it?
270.
If I'm more comfortable hitting like a hybrid,
Sure.
would you say go with that?
Go for it.
Like something like 250?
We'll find it.
Okay.
Anyway.
we are next to the tree.
Perfect. So I mean,
Hit
so
the 2 hybrid, like hold it a little bit.
Hold it, but sure, but again, so Tiger had 5 things that he used to track back when he was playing his best golf in
Yep.
the 2000s. And one of them was how many bogeys he made on par 5s, which obviously for Tiger Woods is not a good outcome.
Yeah.
But he also knew, I'm gonna make some. If I don't, I'm not playing aggressively enough. So I'm not saying we're gonna make bogey here, but like for you, hitting this thing on the green and 2-putting it is not a terrible outcome.
Cash.
I mean,
Yep.
again, you've made a par on a
Yep.
hole. As a 6 handicap, that's not terrible.
Yeah, right.
Pretty straightforward shot. Try to get yourself a 15-footer or better.
Coming into this lesson with Scott, I thought he'd be throwing all these crazy numbers and percentages at me, and while he does look at things from an analytical perspective, he somehow made the game feel simpler and easier rather than more technical and complicated. He also talked a lot about how he's had to change his approach to coaching. Earlier in his career, he was definitely more analytical, focused on the numbers, whereas now he definitely focuses way more on the mental side of things.
Easy game.
Easy game.
Easy game.
Easiest game ever. It's shocking it's as popular as it is.
It really is.
So I won't say anything here. I'll just tell you my ending target. If you see the tree on the right side of the green that's
Yep.
kind of like that,
Yep.
and then there's one tree stump. So it's like the first tree on the right side of the fairway.
Yeah.
So I just kind of started in the middle of that White House and cut it back to there because there's
Cool.
wind off the left.
Oh, Scott. There's something going on. Oh man.
But that's the funny thing about it, man.
I
It's just
mean-
impossible to not get mental. It's literally impossible.
You're getting a real raw version of me here, Scott. This is it. How good are you?
Let's pretend you're a 6. Let's pretend today you were gonna shoot 91.
Yep.
My real goal to you on that day is to get you to shoot 87. And that's the case. I think that's what people who are like striving to get to scratch, and they're like, I can't wait until I'm a scratch, because once my bad round is 75, I'll enjoy it. Like a 75 to me feels just as bad as a 90 to you.
Not my best stuff here on this one. Ended up with a double bogey, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I was a little bit worried. It's tough for Scott to help me with strategy when I can't even hit the ball somewhat straight off the tee. So I asked him a question. Okay, so here's a question. First couple holes here, obviously the driver's not going where I want it to go. At what point do I say, okay, maybe I'll just hit a little less club, or?
I have probably a relatively unconventional take. Just keep hitting driver.
Okay, rip away.
I say just kind of smile and keep swinging it.
Keep swinging.
I really do.
I love it. All right.
Frisk your brain, flush it down the toilet, be an athlete. Just react here, dude. I mean, it really is like an old
Scott.
Chinese proverb. To gain control, you have to give up control. You start, I mean, you're trying to manage something that's going 110-ish miles an hour, and you're trying to manage something within a 5-degree window. It sounds silly, but like, the harder you swing, lots of times it just wants to straighten itself out. I mean, it really does. You start trying to guide this thing, you're done. There's times we've got to be working on stuff, but there's also times you just got to swing, man.
Easy game, ladies and gentlemen, easy game.
Peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys. This is it. This is the roller coaster.
This is where
you chose to hop on it here.
I just don't believe you'll continue playing that. If you do, whatever. So it's probably playing right at 100. Pins on the front again. Just what club you got there?
I got 60.
How far do you normally hit a 60? That seems like a long 60.
We got our napkin here. I think it's like 100 yards maybe.
95 yards.
Okay.
Hit yourself a nice flighted punch 56. Again, into the wind. What I've seen so far is you definitely tend to hit the ball a little higher. So it's going to get really eaten up on this particular shot. Our real goal here is about 15 feet past the hole. So our real goal is like 105. I wouldn't take much off of that thing, but just hit a nice punchy shot right at it.
A little chunky.
Good shot.
Take it.
I mean, that's the main thing that most amateurs and even professionals, they just don't understand how far they actually hit the ball. We're all kind of playing for this perfect shot, this 80th percentile shot. So if I hit a sand wedge perfectly, it's going 95. I'll never accidentally hit this thing 100. I can't do it. But I'll hit it 90 a whole bunch when trying to hit it 95. I'll hit it 87 when trying to hit it 85, 95.
This right here was the perfect example of one of the main things Scott harps on in his system. Shot patterns from every club is like a shotgun blast that slopes from long left to short right for a righty. The strategy behind picking the right club is understanding these patterns and picking the club that has the most overlap with the green or intended target. Simple concept, but once you realize it, club selection becomes a lot easier. Over the next couple holes, I really started to settle in. I had back-to-back pars and was finally able to soak in all Scott was teaching me, but I still had a ton of questions for him. Specifically, what he thinks is the most important club in the bag.
People ask what's the most important club in the bag all the time, and it's the driver. There's a Ben Hogan quote, at least he's attributed with it. If you can't putt, you can't score, but if you can't drive it, you can't play. Knowing you're going to be in perfect spot with your tee shots every time, like, you can't put a price tag on that.
Really frees you up,
Yeah. Nice. Let's go.
We're in a great spot off the tee. Let's see if we can finally get a birdie here and make Scott proud.
What do you got?
I've got 4 and 5 iron. I do definitely hit, like my 4 iron, I hit it low. 5 iron, I hit it high. I think it maybe carries
with
further.
With this wind, that's fine. I'm fine with the 5 iron. Just right at the middle of that opening of the green.
Okay.
Perfect.
Is that all right over there? Yeah.
So you just got information from mine. That it didn't break at all. You're on even a slightly lower line.
Inside,
right lip maybe,
right
but
lip.
like probably pretty straight. Pretend you're shooting a fadeaway jump shot. Look at the hole and react.
Just react, Scott, easy game.
The human body's amazing at doing what you ask it to do if you ask it to do the right thing. I mean, I'm not worried about you 3-putting this one. You know, it's uphill. If this were downhill, I would be like, let's don't get carried away like I did on a couple of the other ones. Like this one, you're not gonna blow it 3 feet by.
Yeah.
Again, just trying to be as athletic as you can and reactionary as you can.
This lesson with Scott was honestly so helpful. I have way more confidence going into a round, knowing that I actually have a solid strategy. If I can apply the stuff that Scott taught me, I think it'll definitely help bring my scores down in the future, and especially when I play 3 rounds at the end of this week. Scott technically didn't charge me for this, but you can get full access to him and his program at decade.golf for $250. Next up, equipment experts. You guys already know I'm dialed in with my Tacoma 301 CBs, but I've still never been fit for a putter or a driver. So we're gonna head down to Austin, Texas to meet up with the master putter builders at Adele Golf. David Adele was actually the one who made Bryson DeChambeau his first set of single length irons. Bryson also used an Adele putter to win the US Amateur in 2015. You could say they know a thing or two about making good equipment.
This is the brick putter. That's the one that Bryson won the USAM back in the day.
Okay.
We checked out the workshop where they make the putters, and then we got right into the putter fitting.
Have you ever been fitted for a putter, like on sand?
No, never been fitted for a putter. No, I'm sure I'm lining up wrong, doing stuff wrong. Like I've probably just gotten used to it.
Yeah.
I'm an okay putter, not that great.
The main focus during an Adele putter fitting is making sure you're lining up your putter correctly. And a lot of that has to do with the shape of the putter and the lines on top. So to start out, Brian put a mirror on my putter with a laser shooting directly at it so we could get real-time feedback to see if I'm lining up my putter at the target. We did this a few times, and then Brian started trying out different putter head and shaft combinations.
So I'm gonna give you some different heads. Yeah, there's 4 different heads here. Here's our little like mobile kit where I can give you different weights relative to your stroke, which will be our kind of like the second part of the fit, and then alignment plates relative to you to make it more correctly aim biased.
Very cool.
We went through this process a few more times with every head and shaft combination imaginable until we found the one that I lined up the best. It's crazy how just the shape and lines on a putter can totally change how you aim it.
Kind of like the 2 lines.
They were all right down the middle.
I'm a 2-line guy. Were they really?
Yeah, they were all right down the middle.
After we found out what putter head and line combination worked best for me, the second part of the fitting was dialing in the weight of the putter.
So we're gonna hit putts to that string right there.
Okay.
From that black dot. The goal is to basically get the ball to stop on the string.
Brian didn't want me to have any bias in the fitting process, so he didn't tell me where or how much weight he was adding to the putter. He only wanted me to give him feedback on what felt best.
So what are we thinking? Are we going heavier weights, lighter weights?
I'll put some in there and I'll just kind
You
of...
don't tell me. You don't tell me.
you
Yeah, I
tell
like
me.
that. Okay, hey. You surprised me.
Again, there's no right or wrong answer, but there's
Sure.
been plenty of times where I'll put a heavier in there, but to that person, it actually might feel lighter.
Interesting.
I know the right answer, but
Yeah, right.
again, your answer is not right or wrong.
Right,
It's just what you feel.
This is what I feel. I wish I had more tests like this in school, where my answers weren't right or wrong.
After about 15 minutes of trying different weights, we finally settled on a putter.
That's going to be the winner.
Yeah.
Weight-wise, yeah.
Final step was to pick out a grip, and bada bing, bada boom, we've got our final putter. I ended up going with the Adele Array F2, 35 inches, single bend shaft, 2 lines on top, and 10 gram weights in the bottom. Adele was kind enough to cover the putter and fitting, which altogether would have cost $500. Now let's go get fit for a driver.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here at Golf Tech, and we're gonna be getting fitted for a brand new driver today.
As I walked in the door, head club fitter Mark was there to greet me. Quick moment of appreciation for the prescription Oakleys. Big fan of those. But this actually wasn't the first time I had talked to Mark. A few days prior, he had called me on the phone for my pre-fitting consultation.
Hi, this is Josh.
Mark just wanted to get an idea of what I had been fit for in the past and if I have any specific brands I'd like to try. It's a simple thing to do, but honestly, I really appreciated the top-notch service.
Top-notch service, man. I'm fired up about that.
After that call, I knew it was going to be a great fitting. Mark got right to work getting some hand and arm measurements.
The painful part is over.
All right. I feel like I'm getting fitted for a suit here.
First step of the fitting was to swing my current driver and have Mark get some numbers on that, which we found out was just way too heavy.
You're sitting on a D7 swing weight, which is a sledgehammer.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Next, I hit 4 different drivers: the Titleist GT3, Callaway AI Smoke, TaylorMade QI10, and Ping G430. Mark was constantly changing out heads and shafts. His goal with this was to get my launch angle, backspin, and descent angle all in the optimal range. And it was kind of nice. The simulator gave you these 3 scales for feedback. Ideally, you want all these arrows to be in the green. After about 20 more minutes of testing, Mark got my numbers where he wanted them, and we finally landed on a driver.
I think there's you a driver.
I think that might be it.
I ended up going with the Titleist GT3 with a hazardous 6.5 70-gram shaft.
You think that's gonna solve all my problems?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, I talked to the right people at Golf Tech, and they were kind enough to cover the driver and fitting, which would have cost $800. Next up,
Short game.
This is Cameron McCormick, the #4 ranked golf coach in the US and current coach to 3-time major champion Jordan Spieth. Jordan Spieth is known for his world-class short game, and Cameron has obviously played a huge role in helping him develop that. Cameron's gonna take me through a short game masterclass. He started by asking me to rank each part of my short game on a scale of 1 to 10.
Wedges, I'm probably 7-ish, 6 or 7-ish out of 10. Putting, maybe a 5 out of 10.
Okay.
If that.
What would take that 7 and elevate it higher from the greenside play?
I explained to Cameron that I just really don't have a good game plan around the greens. I don't know if you guys are like this as well, but I just never know exactly what type of shot to hit given the situation.
And then going back to the putting, 5 out of 10. How does that move to 7 or 8 or 9 or 10?
Just having a consistent routine that I go through, and like I've watched YouTube videos on like how to read greens and stuff like that, but I'm not good at that, to be honest. I'm kind of just guessing at a lot of things.
When you hit a poor putt, what does it look like? Is it short, long, left, right?
I would say short left probably is most of the time.
Short and left miss.
Short and left miss, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cameron had me hit a few 15 and 30-yard shots at different trajectories to take inventory of where my short game was at. Go figure, right off the bat, he found a few inconsistencies.
So of the 3 to 4 attempts hitting it short and then the 4 attempts hitting it long, you've got a distribution of contact locations that go all the way from I bladed one, I struck one low toe, I struck several that were solid in the middle of the club face, and then that last one, you struck it fat. So there's some cleanup work in terms of what I'll call landing the club.
Okay.
Being able to strike the golf ball and the ground correctly. If you can't create a certainty of contact, every other piece of controlling the golf ball is compromised.
Crazy how quick Cameron was able to spot my contact issues. Luckily, it should be a pretty easy fix.
So now what I want you to do is I want you to feel like you're getting way lower to the ground. So you've got more knee flex, almost like you're working into a bit of a deadlift here. As we're trying to create trajectory, I want you to create more narrow in the swing. So I want you to hinge more. So we're lower through our knee flex, we're gonna create a little bit more hinge, and we're gonna hit it 15 yards. What changed in the contact? Higher in the face?
Yeah.
Yeah, higher in the face. Very good. We can think of the club head like it's a plane. And if we think of the back edge of the bowl like it's the start of the runway, plane's coming into land and it lands before the runway, bad things happen,
No bueno,
right? Yeah. So we have a very tight window with which we need to land our plane. We're gonna use the crease as the target for our landing point. So I'm gonna hinge, I'm gonna land, I'm actually gonna see myself strike the crease between those two carpet surfaces. Then I'm gonna step to the ball, I'm gonna try and do the same. Just like so. My contact location was 4 to 5 grooves higher than your highest contact locations, and some of your contact locations were dramatically low in the face. These contact locations that are low in the face essentially say that your plane actually never gets to the ground. This is the club traveling backwards and down, or the swing arc, it just never gets to the ground. So we need to get the club to the ground. That's the knee flex piece.
This is without a doubt one of the most useful tips from my lesson with Cameron. As you heard him say, grounding the club properly is one of the most important skills in all aspects of golf. And you don't even need a golf ball to practice it. You could literally do this at home on your carpet. After a few reps of trying my new stance and practicing landing the club, my contact started to move up and closer to the center of the club face. But we didn't stop there.
What we now need to do is we need to be more accurate from a forward or backward standpoint.
Yep.
And so in order to do that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make practice swings that now involve a forward-backward component. To where we're gonna start with the center of our club on the stick. We're gonna make the same swing back, setting our wrists. We're gonna land without touching that yellow stick. And then we're gonna see how that relates to shifting the contact location.
Although this drill seems simple, it was honestly a little harder than I thought. But after a few attempts, I started to pick it up, and what do you know? My contact immediately improved.
Ho, ho, ho.
Come on.
Look at that
Come
evidence
on.
of success. Ideal. Beautiful.
I've never been so fired up about ball placement on the club there.
We're about 20 minutes into this and we're almost ready to go outside.
Cameron then showed me the difference between my first few swings and the ones after implementing his tips. As you can see, I'm standing way more straight up in the before pictures, and in the after, I'm in a way more athletic position. As I swing, you'll see a lot more hinge in the wrists. And then if you look at my head at impact, in the before, it's drifting up and away from the ball outside of the box, whereas after it stayed down and inside the box. With my swing cleaned up, we're gonna head outside and practice different types of shots around the green. I'm gonna be hitting shots from 3 different distances. As soon as I'm successful with the first, I can move on to the next.
I've got you in a situation here where the appropriate shot would be to use the available green and release the ball out there. Landing the ball somewhere in this first 2 to 3 yards of the green.
Okay.
And release it out to the flag.
Okay.
What do you think I'm gonna be looking for here?
Where the club is striking the ground.
Yeah, right, kick stance. Yeah, like I said, the setup there is wonderful. How would you describe the landing precision there?
Probably a little like before the ball, a little chunky,
Just a tiny little bit.
I can
And
feel
above the club.
the bounce of it.
And so there's the classic example of someone that can do something well, but then the regression to the norm, the mean, which is the contact location that moves out into the toe, right?
Okay.
So now stand in front of me, go and address that ball. Then I'm going to drag the ball away because we're going to make a practice swing. That's it, beautiful. And now shorten the swing to make the swing appropriate for the type of shot that we're going to hit. Let's check the contact location out. Ah, well done.
A little better?
Move from there to there. Now clearly that's dangerous,
Yeah, yeah.
but that's moving in the proper direction.
Okay.
Let's work it back to where we have to carry it a little bit further now. Now this is the 15-yard carry, maybe 20-yard carry shot. Good adjustment and stance, still got the knee flex. Okay, was the landing point accurate?
I think north-south was good.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go a little bit more
Now we're
east.
talking.
West. Where's the contact?
Oh, no, that was just a, that was.
You can still see it.
Yeah.
So the evidence off the ground is where is the grass or the dirt pushed
Yep.
between the grooves, and that's
Yep.
where it is. Center heel. Nice. And high on the face. High on the face, super important.
Awesome. Sorry, that was just a natural reaction.
I
I
know,
couldn't.
right?
That's a tough,
Yeah.
tough
It
one
happens.
not to do.
It happens. Now we're going to move to a spot where we add the trajectory piece to it, okay?
Okay.
30 yards and high.
As we move on to a higher shot, Cam had a great explanation of how to get that higher trajectory you're looking for.
Okay.
How much we let the club pass underneath the handle then determines that launch angle.
trajectory.
So that would be a low trajectory, mid trajectory, high trajectory, highest trajectory. I would be okay if this time you heeled it so much it was a shank. Let's take a look. Nice, dead center.
Okay.
So if we just get all the dirt away, the grass that's left in the grooves tells a story of that contact location, and that's high and in the center. And even though the shot was out to the right,
Sure.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? What matters is the control of contact becomes the most difficult thing to adjust, and the control of direction is just simple. All right, let's go putt.
Started out the putter lesson with just some 10-foot putts. Cameron threw my putter on the Sam Putt Lab, which is basically like a golf simulator, but for putters. He was kind of checking out the data while I was putting, and then only about 5 putts in, he said something that I could not believe.
If I didn't know that you'd already graded your stroke at a 5 out of 10, sorry, your putting performance is a 5
Yeah,
out of 10.
yeah.
Putting performance, big difference between stroke and
Oh,
performance.
very true. Yes.
I would grade your putting stroke at a 9.5.
No way.
Yes.
9.5. We need to take a second on that. Just everybody listening on that's a 9.5.
Yeah. That's coming from someone that's seen a lot of really good putting strokes.
Maybe this guy behind us.
Yes,
here.
exactly. Yeah. So I don't see a path forward that connects in improving in your stroke and in improving in your results.
Okay.
But what's important now is for me to close that doubt cloud in my mind. I'm like, I wonder if his assessment, self-assessment, 5 out of 10 is even valid. So now we need to go do that outdoors.
I was riding high off that 9.5. We headed outside to do some more in-depth green reading drills.
There's a reason why Cameron is one of the top coaches in the world. I've gained more golf knowledge in the past 40 minutes than I have in my entire 7 years of playing golf. This is insane.
Well done.
Thank
Given
you.
what I just said inside.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome job. I'm going to demonstrate what I want you to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we mark the starting location of the ball. I'm going to take these 2 ball markers. I'm going to read the putt. I'm going to place those 2 ball markers down 2/3 along that ball's travel to the hole. I'm going to make a gate the width of the putter head.
Okay.
Then come back and take a look. And hopefully if I read it correctly and I hit it online correctly and I hit it at the proper speed, I make the putt. And then this exercise is going to give me information that I'm looking for. It just tells me more about how you perform as a putter versus how you stroke it.
yeah.
Got it?
Starting out, Cameron gave me a little 8-foot putt, breaking from left to right.
Okay, let's do it again. Hold on. That's not a 5 out of 10 performance.
Okay.
He had me take another crack at the same putt, and while I was lining it up, he may have uncovered something.
Are you intending to hit the same putt? You're
Yeah.
intending to hit the same putt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I
Let's see
my
it.
way offline there?
We might have just surfaced one gap between
Okay.
what I saw inside and the first putt and your 5 out of 10. We might have.
Technically, that looks good to me.
More
I'm not
similar? Yeah, this is
Yeah,
more
is
similar.
that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Lovely job. New putt. If we're going to hit the same target with the same gun, then we need to be aiming the gun
At the same,
in the same spot.
Same spot.
And you didn't do that. That's one of those things that I'm looking for when a player says, I use the line for aim,
Yeah.
is how well they can aim it. But again,
Yeah, I
that
would
was
say
left
that
to right,
could
let's
be
do a right to lefter.
Yeah.
We can stop now.
Yeah.
And I'm right. But when you use the line, you're much more
Like on
likely
the
to
left.
have a tendency to aim that left
Okay.
and therefore if we just aim the rifle better, we perform better.
This is good, Cameron. This is good.
Yeah.
Holy.
Again, just goes to show how good of a coach Cameron is. It only took him 2 putts to figure out exactly what was wrong with my game. And lucky for me, it's a pretty easy fix.
We're gonna use barrel sighting. I'm looking at the camera, I'm closing my non-dominant eye. I'm looking down the shaft, and I'm putting the bottom of the shaft here, closest to my hands holding the club, at the golf ball, and I can pretty quickly glance up and see where the top of the shaft is gonna hit. So right now I've got the line on the golf ball 1 centimeter to the right of that right ball mark. Okay? Or let me change it. Where's the golf ball pointed now?
Golf ball's pointed just to the left of the
Right ball marker?
Yep.
Okay, let me take a look. I agree. Roll it.
All right.
Yeah, roll it. Let's see what we get. Yeah, beautiful job. Well done.
Okay.
That's your new aim strategy moving forward. Continue to use the line of the ball, use the edge of the shaft.
Line it
Some
up.
people call it barrel sighting, some people call it rifle sighting.
You're a legend.
Awesome.
Awesome experience getting a lesson from one of the greatest coaches in the world. Cameron also makes really good content that can help out any level of golfer. Definitely check him out. I didn't pay for it, but typically a lesson costs $500 with Cameron. Next up, driver. Let me introduce you guys to Tim Cusick, PGA Master Professional and Golf Magazine Top 100 instructor. He's also the head coach at the PGA of America Coaching Center in Frisco, Texas, which is the headquarters for all PGA of America coaches. Tim spent the earlier part of his career as an assistant to Hank Haney, who was famously Tiger Woods' coach in the early 2000s. So you could say Tim knows a thing or two about the golf swing.
Tim, you got your work cut out for you here today. The driver is without a doubt my worst club. If I'm gonna make a double bogey, this is the club that haunts me the most.
We'll do what we can to, number one, get you to hit somewhere closer to the center of the face. Control the dispersion a little bit if we can. It's not so much fixing this or fixing this in your swing for the sake of fixing so it looks better. I want you to have a better end result. Let's see you hit a few shots here.
I took a few swings to start out just to give Tim a baseline for where I'm at. After collecting some data, he explained what potentially could be causing my driver woes.
As you swing the club back, and you do a very good job of it from ground level to hip level. I like that takeaway right there. However, you start getting a little bit more upright and your hands and arms a little bit more behind you. Every person that swings the golf club creates this triangle right here. And in an ideal world, you like that triangle to point a little bit more over the top of your right shoulder. So you're starting to go a little bit across your body, and that's why the club gets behind your head on the right side and it gets a little too much across the target line. This is one that you can either hit a big draw, you could block it, or if your hands get really active, you could hook it. The club's going to start coming down from the inside. That club's stuck behind you just a little bit. So you got to either do something with your hands or else you're going to block it. And if you do too much with your hands, it's going to hook too much. So how do we go about fixing this? I want to get this club on a better line. So I'm going to get your feet to be a little bit more square, and I'm going to get the club to not feel so much across, and it's going to be a little bit shorter and out in front of you. Cool. Keep the takeaway that you've got. Once you pass your right thigh, you're going to rotate your left arm and the club more up and over, and now you've got a better chance when you bring it back down for it to come right back down the same way it went up. See how the shaft is more parallel with your feet as opposed to being over here and it's coming too much from inside.
Okay. So now I know what needs fixed, but the question is, can I actually do it? Before even thinking about hitting a ball, Tim had me rehearse the position what felt like 1,000 times. He explained that when your body is so used to doing something a certain way, you can't just snap your fingers and make the change. It takes thousands of swings to really cement it and have it be muscle memory. And after a bunch of rehearsal swings, it was finally time to hit my first golf ball.
That's what I want.
You probably didn't notice it, so I'll pause it for you. My first swing, and I immediately regressed back to the bad position I was in with my arm way too wrapped around my body. Ladies and gentlemen, this might be a little bit more difficult than I thought. Back to the drawing board on trying to get my swing in the right position. Tim helped me rehearse over and over again. I was thinking so much about what position I was in, I forgot one very important piece of the puzzle.
I forgot the part where I actually have to hit the ball then after.
But after some embarrassment and a little bit of perseverance, we finally started to figure it out.
That was better. Left. Good. Closer. Closer. Let's do it again.
Okay.
As I started to progress, Tim added another piece of the puzzle. He switched up my grip. Before, it was way too strong and looked like this, and what it needs to look like is this.
Show me the backswing one time, Josh. Over your shoulder. Good. Back to the ball. All right, let's see it.
Okay.
Shoulder square. Getting closer.
Okay, we're getting there.
We're getting closer.
You seeing some changes? The grip change really started to straighten my ball flight out, and I started to gain a little bit more confidence with the backswing. But we weren't done here. Tim really wanted to ingrain the backswing into my head and make sure it was muscle memory. So we rehearsed it over and over and over again, which is what I need. This is the club I struggle with the most. If I'm gonna lower my scores for the rounds at the end of this video, I need to get the driver in check. So we rehearsed until I could prove to Tim that I could get it right.
Better contact.
Yeah, curious how that looked.
Different position at the top of the backswing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And look at where your arms are on the right-hand side,
Yeah.
more out in front of you.
Yeah. Finally, Tim got the swing he was looking for. The left side is my first swing, and the right side is my most recent. On the left, my arm's reaching across my chest, forcing me to drop my hands and drag the club behind me on my downswing. Whereas on the right, my hands are high and above my shoulder, allowing me to rotate more freely and square the club head up easier as I swing through. Stoked to finally have a diagnosis for my driver issues. A lesson with Tim cost $235. After all these lessons, I played another 3 rounds to see if my stats improved, and while technically my average score did get a little bit better, I probably didn't play enough rounds for it to actually make a difference. But I do think if I implement everything I've learned over the next year or so, my stats and handicap will improve dramatically. My wife said if I hit 250K subs in 1 week after my last video, I could keep the golf simulator in my living room. We missed that window, but she did say since so many of you are on board with the simulator that if I hit 250K by Christmas, she'll let me put it back up. And who knows, maybe I'll be in a bigger place by then. Love you guys.